Welcome to another Guide 2 with me, MrSealyp. The Linde H40D Forklifter. This is a new mod to console. I'm not sure if it's a new mod in general, but definitely a new mod to console. This is by Big Pharma 145, and it's quite an interesting little mod. Quite impressive, I have to say. I've had a bit of a fiddle around with it, and there are some interesting little features that I like, but as I often do in my Guide 2s, mod reviews, whatever you want to call them, a bit of history. It's always nice. So, Linde, the Linde Forklift brand warehouse machinery company. So the roots of the Linde Material Handling Company date back quite a way, with Hugo Guldner, Georg von Kraus and Karl von Linde. They founded a company called Guldner Motoren Gesellschaft in Munich in 1904. 3 years later they moved to Aschaffenburg. I apologise if you're German and I'm murdering your language. I really do apologise. And then in 1929, the company that Linde, Karl von Linde, had originally founded in 1879, bought out the company that he founded with the two other guys. So it was, where are we? Gesellschaft für Linz Eismaschinen AG. There you go. It took over Guldner Motoren Gesellschaft. In 1955, they produced the first vehicle with a hydrostatic drive, and the first truck, I think it was called the Hydrocar, was kind of released around 1959-1960. After that, they then produced the first line of forklift trucks, and off they went from there. A lot of people are referring to these as telehandlers. In the UK we call them forklift trucks, forklifters. A telehandler normally has an extendable boom. This obviously goes up and down, but yeah, it's not telescopic. I think that might be the difference, but anyway. So yeah, big company, branches all around the world, manufacturing factories all around the world. Yeah, pretty big, but bizarrely enough, I'd never heard of them before, which is very unusual. Anyway, diesel engines, hydrostatic drives, very nice bit of kit. Enough waffle from me, let's move swiftly on. So what I'm going to do is go into the store, as we often do in these situations. Now you can either, from this menu, if you're on PlayStation 4, if I do R1 I can go to the manufacturer page. L1 takes me back. You can either find this in where was it, miscellaneous, I believe it was, yes, in miscellaneous, or if you do R1 you can go all the way across and find Linde. Now I'm saying Linde, I don't think it's Linde, because Linde would have an accent over the E, I would assume. I could be wrong. There you go, Linde Material Handling, and there we go. So we've got the Linde H40D forklifter, then we've got forks, and we have a shovel as well. So I'm really sorry, my voice. That's better. So if we have a look in here, you can change the rim colour. The central part, the hub, stays red, but the rim bit around the outside of it can either be red or black. I've got one of each to show you. This costs 9,800, which actually isn't too bad considering what it does. If you're going to get even the Kramer, I know it's telescopic, but anything like that, the Bobcats, any of those, they're 50,000-60,000. So for just under 10,000, it's actually not a bad idea. 40 horsepower, 15 miles per hour top speed. That will obviously be different if you've got yours set in kilometres per hour. 180 pounds, euros, dollars, whatever it is. You've got your set in maintenance per day. Now, if you've got the slot system as we have on PS4, putting one of those in, it says minus 23 slots. Now I've already put 2 in game, and normally once you put 1 in, the next ones after that are only 1 slot each. No, this takes a lot of slots, so depends what you're going to want to do. Then we've got pallet forks that go with it. We have an option of standard pallet forks, attacher on fork, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and then long forks. You also have the option to pick any colour you want for those particular forks. It is entirely up to you. They cost $300. If we go for the attacher on the fork, that's an extra £10, dollars or euros. Big money, people, be careful. And if you want to go for the long forks, again another 10. Not bad pricing, I have to say. Then we have the shovel. The shovel is 3,600. It's a 4,000 litre capacity shovel, which is pretty good. And when you see it, obviously you've kind of already had a look, it's quite big. There are some clever little tricks up the sleeve of these things. So without further ado, let's jump into one. I'm going to start off with around the wrong side for a start. Start it up. So let's move this out of the way. Obviously rear wheel steer, like most forklift trucks, has an incredibly good turning circle, as you would imagine. Turns on a sixpence. What I have found, if you're going to go up curbs or steps, reverse up them. It doesn't like going forwards at all up them. But we have got lights around the front. We've got lights, and we've got lights at the back. So plenty of lighting. Have we got indicators? Let's have a look. We have got indicators. Very nice indeed. There is a rear trailer hitch. And as for movement, we have got, I've got to make sure I get this right way around. We've got lean forward and lean backward. Nice detailing and animation on those rams. Although I'm finding you get that usual, for some reason on certain mods, the forks, you get that fork wobble. You can see that. It's kind of, the animation goes a little bit weird. It happens on quite a lot of them. And then we've got our up and down. Come out a bit because this goes up a fair way. This will carry 4 tons apparently. And then what's also a nice little feature of this is the fork width can be adjusted in and out. So what I will just, because I've had a few complaints about this. So what I'm doing for this is L1, and I'm using my right mushroom to go up and down. L1, and then the mushroom left and right tilts it forwards and backwards. And then for the forks it's R1, and then the right mushroom again for the in and out. Now the long forks are an interesting one, and they are designed, I'm going to whiz over here very very quickly, for if you want to do double pallets or something incredibly large. It depends what it might be. It does say in the kind of blurb for this that you can pick up multiple pallets. If you're loading up a lorry, then you can do like 2 at a time across the whole truck bed. That's pretty cool. What I have found, the only drawback with this is they get a little bit sketchy, the double ones. I'll be honest. They got a little bit, once it picked up the second pallet, they got a little bit jittery. And they weren't liking it too much. So I'll just show you what I mean. Let's lift this up and tilt that back. They get a little bit wobbly. Well, it doesn't seem too bad at the moment. It just wasn't particularly liking it when I tried it earlier. They got a little bit twitchy and glitchy, but I have to say it's not too bad. Set them before you put them onto the pallets, because if you try and adjust them afterwards, if I move these pallet forks out now, that's when they go a little bit, doesn't like it, like that. If you watch the front of the forks, yeah, not liking it so much. But anyway, yeah, so we'll do multiple, which is quite nice. I'd say the height on it is pretty impressive. The only downside I did have as well was getting the forks back out again proved to be quite difficult. So let's lean that forward, drop those down. Let's see how we get on. No, it's not so bad. Well, maybe it was just me. It could have been just me. Right, let's drop those ones off. So that's the long forks. I need to make sure I pick up the right ones here. So what I will do very, very quickly is jump out and show you this one now. So this is the shovel. The shovel, you've got the same functions for up and down of the actual forks themselves, and you've got your in and out like so. But then what you also then have is your bucket function on this one. I'm trying to remember if I think it's R1. There we go. So R1 will give your tip functions. Now just remember, when you're on the ground, if you tip too far, it will tip the whole thing. Let's get this right. Yeah, it goes a little bit, but that's only designed because obviously when you're up high, you want to tip into something, you need to be able to tip it out. It's a nice bucket, this 4,000 litres. It's pretty good if you're doing mixed ration and stuff like this. That's what I mean. This is quite a cheap alternative to telehandlers and things like that. I like it. It's nice. Now, while I'm in this one, we'll have a quick look in cab. It's a bit bare. It's very black. There's not much else going on. Tiny little steering wheel, as you would expect. Visibility's not great, but then it wouldn't be in a real forklift either. But like I say, the turning circle is just, it's amazing. This is a nice mod. I like it. I'm trying to work out now what of my Let's Play, what maps this would be good on, you know, where it would fit in, kind of on a farm. Definitely for yard work. Now, your normal forks are the ones just over there to the left. Your standard forks, they do what normal standard forks do. So I won't go into much detail about those. This is the super duper bit. This is with attacher. So if we come around and have a look at this front fork here, we have an attacher here. Interesting. I must admit, I looked at it and thought, well, okay, what am I going to use that for? Well, if you're doing shunting work around the yard and you've got some equipment to move and you don't want to break out the tractor, because you know that can be a pain sometimes. Now, you don't have to set this at the right height. That said, it helps because the trailer will dip down otherwise, but you see the attachers come up. Now I don't know how many different trailers this will attach to, and it's only got 40 horsepower as well, so I don't think it's going to necessarily pull fully loaded ones, but it's more about the torque, not necessarily the horsepower. But if you're want to do a little bit of, you know, moving stuff around the yard, oh, without smashing into that, it's actually quite intuitive. I like the fact you can do that. This is not going to be for moving things, you know, miles. You're not going to be taking things to sell using the forklift truck, but it's a nice little feature. So you've got forks with an attacher. Just disconnect that. But I'll show you what I mean. If I go down, the attach symbol is still there, and if I attach now, it pulls the trailer down towards where the forks are. So if I raise them up again, puts it back to where it should be, and then you can, you know, if you wanted to lift up your trailers, I don't know why you would, but anyway, there you go. So that's the forks with the attacher. Nice little feature. No, that was not what I meant to do. What I meant to do was that. Now, here's the other nice little feature. Because this technically comes in the telehandler section, technically, you can attach some of the telehandler equipment, which again is a nice little feature. I say that, it worked for me. How weird is that? Okay. Oh, there we go. I was going to say that worked before. Right, so Kotec forks. All the functions there. Your forward and backwards. Your up and down. Now you haven't got a huge amount of lean back here because of the way they're designed, and not all of the telehandler equipment works particularly well on it. You can try out as many different things as you want to, but I just thought, again, for yard work, for moving stuff about, this is a really cheap alternative to a telehandler or a bobcat, or, you know, it really is quite cool. I do like that idea. And just to prove the point, if I go to the telehandler wrapped bale handling, now this doesn't sit on here at the best angle, and that's why it's a little bit odd, but if I come in now, get as close to the ground as I can, it does still work though. So for things like making total mix ration, if you're going to be doing that with bales, it does work. It's a really cool little mod. I do like this. I mean, it doesn't look particularly, realistic. It's hooked on, it's worked, but would you actually use it? You know, maybe not, I don't know. That would be entirely up to you. Let's open that up, back that up, drop that down, and disconnect. But there you go. So it would be a case of fiddling around. I haven't gone through every single implement they've got in the telehandlers, but that's what it does. It is a really nice mod. It works really well, it's cheap, it's affordable. With a 4-ton weight limit, it will take quite a bit. The detail on it's really good. Like I say, this is the one with the red rims. The hubs stay red, but the rims around it are red on this one. On this one, the hub's red, but the rim around it is black. Those are your options. As far as bucket and stuff like that goes, you can change the colour of the bucket when you buy that to any colour you want, and you can change the colour of the forks. I haven't shown you the standard forks because at the end of the day they're standard forks. The only difference is they will go wide and narrow, so if you're taking a pallet from either this way or this way, you can adjust the forks to fit, which is a nice feature. I hope you found this useful and informative and interesting. I think that this is a really interesting little mod, nice addition to a farm. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.